Hey everybody, welcome back to another spooky story video, and today we are going to be reading from the state of California. This story is from yourghoststories.com. The writer is the_sweetest_thing, and the title of the story is called The Haunted Hallway. So let's begin. This story takes place in Victorville, California, at a house in the beautiful Spring Valley Lake. I had moved to Victorville in late October 2005, and I knew nobody. The first day I started school, a girl named Michelle approached me, and ever since we've been best friends. Also, the first day of school, I saw this guy and fell in love automatically. It was several weeks before he even said a word to me, thanks to a friend of his who I shared a class with. He overheard me talking about him and told him, and so the guy approached me. We ended up going out several times, but it wasn't until New Year's that I went to his house for the first time. The house had the darkest and most depressing living room I have ever been in. It could be the brightest day on earth, and that living room remained dark, so everyone usually sat in the bright and happy dining kitchen area. The house was set up as such. Entire the front door, to your right are French doors, leading into a study which was turned into a bedroom. To your left was the dining area. From the dining area, you could enter the kitchen, but also if you kept straight from the front door, you could enter the kitchen to your left. And to your right, the hallway continued, but if you kept straight a few steps, you would be in the living room. If you walk through the living room and go through the doors, you would enter the boom boom room, which was like a den, but people slept in there. If you went right down the hallway from where it turns into the kitchen or living room, you would continue down the hallway until you hit the linen closet, where you would have to go left to the master bedroom, and one of the bedrooms, or right to another bedroom and the laundry room. The first time I spent the night, Jordan and I slept in his room. I fell asleep before he did and woke up in the middle of the night. I saw someone sitting up in the corner. The room was dark, but I could tell that they were looking at me. I thought it was one of his brothers who had stayed in the room with us, or maybe Jordan had fallen asleep in the corner. I looked beside me in the bed, and Jordan wasn't there, so I looked down on the floor beside the bed, and there was Jordan sleeping. I looked up to the corner again, and whoever it was had gone. The bedroom door was locked. I didn't want to seem crazy, so I didn't mention this because I thought I knew they'd say the house was haunted. They always said it was the hallway. Later, when I would visit, whenever the door was locked, it would start to rattle real hard, like someone was trying to break in. Jordan told me that it was probably the wind. I wanted to believe him, but none of the windows in the bedroom were open, and I don't think any wind would shake the door that hard. I got used to the door rattling and the chills while walking through the hallways and door slamming shut. I just accepted that the house was haunted. Thankfully, I didn't have to live there. One day, Jordan told me he experienced something really scary. He said he woke up one night to go get some water out of the kitchen. He said when he opened up the door in the middle of the hallway, he saw his 18-month or so niece standing there. It was really late in the night, and he thought maybe she woken up to go to his mom's room or something, but he wasn't going to just walk past her. So he said he went to pick her up, and she disappeared, leaving him in the hallway alone. He got scared and didn't even bother to get the water. I was there that night, so when he came back into the room, he woke me up, and together we walked to Jeremy and Taya's room, his niece's parents. It was the first room when you entered the house. We tried to push them open, but the door was locked. I don't know if I'm pronouncing these names right. This meaning Jama could not have been in the hallway. We ran back into the room, locked the door, and told his mom everything when the morning came. She told us that several days beforehand, she had experienced the same thing, except that she always wakes up at the same time in the middle of the night and walks around the house checking on things. She said that when she started down the hallway to the kitchen, she heard a baby crying, and when she saw Jama standing there, as she got closer and was talking to her, trying to comfort her, she smiled and disappeared. Tammy doesn't really get scared of these things, so was just surprised. She too checked Jeremy and Taya's room, and once again it was locked. Everyone in the house was sort of creeped out by this, but what really did it was when Tammy was cooking one night, And if you were at the stove, if you looked to your right, you were looking straight down the hallway, which was also dark unless you had a light on. Well, Jayma liked to play in the hallway, so she was there and everyone else was scattered around the house when Tammy said, "Dinner's ready." Jordan, me, and a few other people came from the Boom Boom room, and some more people came from the back of the house. We all seemed to get to the hallways right in time to see Jayma slammed against the wall by something. We all stopped and stared. She stared in front of her, and then her eyes followed something heading towards the kitchen. After that, she wouldn't play in the hallway. We didn't talk about that ever again. One day, everyone was in the Boom Boom room. At this point, I was living there too because my dad was arrested and he had been evicted from the apartment we were living in, and I had no way home. I had moved there from out of state. I had just come from the bathroom and started down the hallway. At the end of the hallway was a mirror, and I was looking at myself through it the whole time, thinking about how terrible I looked at the point in time. Well, as I was walking down the hallway, almost toward the middle, I saw a dark, tall figure of a man walking behind me, but not following me. He had walked from the area of Tammy's room towards Jordan's room. This scared the crap out of me. I knew no one else was in the area of the house besides me, and on top of that, no one else in the house was a tall, shadowy figure. I ran into the Boom Boom room and told Jordan. Everyone went back there, and there was no one there in the hallway. Then, on one more occasion, Taya and I were the only ones in the house besides Jayma. We sat there in the kitchen eating dinner. At the point, Jayma was older, barely 2 years old, but she could talk well. She said to us, "That's girls here," and pointed into the hallway. Taya and I looked and saw nothing, but then several moments later we both got chills. And that's when Jayma said, "And that man's here too. He'd kill her. He'd kill the girl," and started smirking and giggling. She then took her fork and started stabbing at herself, and not gently, and started talking and saying things like, he a bad man, he kill her mama, he kill that girl," and would point to the hallway. We moved Jayma's chair so she couldn't see the hallway anymore, but it had started again. She started saying, "She's scared because the man's going to get her, and he's in the hallway too." We had no choice but to believe Jayma was seeing things in the hallway, and that possibly was being possessed into telling us what she saw. Because how could she know what words to use to tell us, or even show us with her fork? She was only 2. Taya and I were so scared. From that point on, Jayma continued to talk about the little girl and the man and Tammy, Jordan, Jayma, and myself, who would start to see him more and more. I started feeling at times evil. Jordan and I would start to argue more, as would Tammy and her boyfriend, and then one day, at this point I was pregnant, I just flipped. Jordan's brother Justin had came into the dining room and started talking about how I was making a mess with the papers. And as he went to pick them up, he knocked over my water. I just flipped out. I took the scissors, which were very, very sharp, and threw them at him with all my force, and thankfully he dodged and they missed him at less than an inch and hit the wall. Then I stormed out of the dining room and hit the hallway. I felt like someone had pushed me back, and I fell backwards, and before hitting the ground, Deshay, their mom's boyfriend, caught me. After that, I left the house to stay with my grandma, who had moved to California, but a couple hours away, and I never went back. Although Jordan would still call me and tell me stories until they decided, after too much happenings, to just move, Jayma was being pushed around and assaulted more. The ghost was starting to appear to more of them, and the front door would just open and close. But I guess what really did it was when Tammy was entertaining one day, and after everyone had left, besides the people who lived there, she was cleaning up in the living room when Jayma came into the living room wanting to be picked up. So Tammy picked her up and started to head back towards the kitchen. When she said she felt like something had pushed the side of her and was falling in like slow motion. When she realized that she was falling into a glass coffee table, she said she knew that there was nothing she could do. They were going to fall into the table, and when they hit the ground, in a split second, the table moved. But not just a little bit, it zoomed right into the wall and shattered. That was it. They started packing that night and were gone. I know it doesn't seem like a lot of this stuff is possible, but I experienced it, and so did 9 other people, and we honestly believe the house is haunted. We never did any research on the house, but I do think it would be a good idea to. I don't know what it is, but it seems like every house I move into is haunted, from the stories Tammy would tell me, to the experiences at both the houses I would be in. The end. Alright, sorry if it was kind of jibber-jabberish. These are, you know, from the website yourghoststories.com. They are people, like, not being paid to do this. They're just writing their own stories, and there's no, like, legit editing or, like, punctuation check kind of thing. So this writer, she wrote a very long story, but, like, some of it didn't really make any sense to me because of, like, the way she wrote, and she just kind of missed commas and things like that. And I'm kind of a grammar Nazi in a way, thanks to my college English professors, and I kind of a tiny bit kind of improvised in the story, so it's not, like, true to the word of what I was reading, because I had to, like, make more sense with it in my own head and then talk about it. But yeah, that is kind of a creepy story, what she has going on, and I definitely believe her. Things like that do happen, and especially if it's something demonic or if it's strong energy, it just kind of seems like that little girl that was supposedly killed in there from the other little girl. And I definitely do believe young kids can see spirits a lot more than we can. But I feel like the ghost girl that was in there was stuck, and then I kind of feel bad for her because she was stuck with her killer, apparently the supposed killer that killed her, in that house too. And thinking of it, like, if it's still haunted today, because this story was written back in 2007. Wow. This is one of, like, the first ones. Okay, so this is a really old story. But, like, thinking about that, like, thinking if those spirits still haunt that house to this day, I feel so bad for that little girl. Like, she's stuck in this house for, like, eternity with this man that killed her. And I don't think it's right. I hope she definitely finds the light, and I hope the man gets what he deserves. So what do you guys think about the story? I mean, do you think it's true? Have you experienced anything similar to this? I feel like it's a very similar kind of story where, like, you have, like, a little kid that sees ghosts, and then there's always, like, that evil man spirit that you'll see, and I don't know, I mean, I believe her. I mean, she's not the best writer, but she does make good points, and, you know, it was kind of creepy when the little girl was talking about and stabbing herself with a fork. I think that's really crazy and scary. I wouldn't even want to know what that little girl alone was, like, looking at with the spirits. That must be terrifying to hear and witness. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments, and I will see you guys next time for more spooky stories. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more ghost stories. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!